Well, hello, everyone. Thank you. My name is Jeanna Heuring, and I'm honored to be here. I'm thankful for Bob and the exchange group for letting me speak and for even just basically letting me be a part of their group because it's a pretty awesome group of people. And so it's an encouraging place. And like you said, I was in the exchange group for about a year before I really talked at all. And so then I got the floor in January and then just started kind of bawling. So that was an interesting way to kind of introduce myself to the group, really. But I want to share with you a little bit about my journey, and Bob shared some really awesome stuff. So hopefully, you've taken away some things from that, and then maybe you could take away some things from what I'll share too. So, like you said, I'm a teacher, and I was kind of just in a place of frustration with the teaching profession. You've probably seen lots of things on Facebook about schools and testing and all that kind of stuff. So I was just kind of in this place of, God, I just don't want to do this stuff anymore. So you really just need to talk to me. What's my purpose? And so for a year I had been kind of just asking him that question over and over. And so just to kind of start, I just said, all right, well, what is purpose anyway? And it's the reason for something being done or created and why it exists. And so I think that's what all of us ask ourselves often. Why am I here, God? What did you really put me here for? And so what's frustrating, though, is sometimes I would see, I was asking myself these questions, and then you see quotes like this, the purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. And you're like, well, that's cute. What does that mean? I don't understand. I'm going to put that sticker on my car, but I really have no idea what that means at all, and it's just annoying, actually, to see it. So, you see that, and you're like, God, what does that mean? And so then you start investigating, and you're like, okay, God, I just really feel like I'm here in this place. It's like a maze. Everything looks good. Everything looks similar. I don't know. There's 20 different options for me, and they could all be great, and I don't know which one to take, and I don't know which route, and there's a bunch of dead ends, and I'm just frustrated. And so sometimes we look we have questions, and then they lead to more questions that are entangled with other questions. And I was in that place of frustration, and I kind of looked like that for a few days. And after the exchange meeting, I was kind of there. And then, if you're not a little girl, sometimes you look like this if you're a guy. Or you end up looking like this. And after a while, you're like, God, I don't know. And sometimes then you're just like, give me the button. I want to hit the button, and you can just lay it out. Because it's like you read your Bible, and you're like, God, it doesn't say, well, Jeanna Heuring, you need to, for this phase of your life, work on this, and then you need to move with that, which would be nice, but it doesn't happen. And so this is kind of what I looked like on the day of the January session. Lots of tissues and tears. And then after that, I went and sat with God, and then I looked like that even more. Just help me, Lord. And then at some point, you get to the point where it says, it's no use, just go on without me. And it's like all these people then you see around you, you're like, you know what? They're flowing in it. They are on it. Why? You know what? You guys just go and be your purpose-filled selves. I'm just going to do what I'm doing. Sometimes you just feel like, I'm just going to stay where I'm at. Then fine, God, I'll just stay here. So, I was like, okay, God, I just got to sit with you. You're the one, like we were talking about earlier, you're the one who wrote my story. You're the one who authored me. So I need to just really, really just be with you because you're the one who knows me most. And like we said, the question is, what are your gifts? And so I had a little blog that I think I have time to read, if that's okay. And it's called, Growing Your Gifts. What are my gifts? And so I'll read it to you somewhat quickly. So I had written this before and didn't realize I had written it until God kind of brought me back. And so it says, have you really taken the time to sit down and think about it? What are your talents? Maybe you've had a lot of success in certain arenas, or do you really know what you've been gifted to do? If you're having trouble finding an answer to that question, you may want to ask another question. What are you passionate about? What makes you so angry you could scream? Now, I'm not talking about the frustrating things your kids do or the irritating tendencies of your spouse or siblings. I'm talking about the larger issues that permeate your mind and emotions when you're not even trying to get riled up. What puts an unintentional smile on your face? What topic do you find yourself leaning towards when you have conversations with people? What makes you so excited you clap your hands and jump up and down like a child on her birthday? Those are the hint moments that we experience, and in those moments we see glimpses of our passions, which often lead us to discover more about our gifts and talents. However, to truly answer the first question, what are your talents, we need to redirect it. We need to back up a bit and ask, what has he put in me that I need to discover? Here's the thing, we are filled with seeds. Now, I know that is especially true for Little League baseball players and baseball fans, but it's true for all of us too. God has planted so many amazing seeds in us that most of us haven't realized or recognized. He put them in us before we were ever born, and I think it's time we discover what they are and use them for the purposes he designed. What do you think? I guess the trouble is that you can't nourish what you don't recognize. You can't water what you haven't identified. No gardener goes outside to water an entire garden if he doesn't believe there are any seeds below the surface. That would just be silly. So how do we identify our seeds? How do we figure out what has been planted in us that needs to grow? After all, our lives will be much more fulfilling if we are flowing in our gifts and pursuing our passions and dreams, right? Taking time to seek the one who created us allows him to shed some light on the gifts he has already planted within. The one who planted those seeds knows exactly what he planted, where he planted them, and for what purpose. He also knows what it takes for each one to grow. He knows the exact temperatures, lighting, nutrients, and seasons in which those seeds will flourish. Why not ask him for a little help? We've been trying to cultivate a garden we don't understand. Do you see the issue? I think it's pretty clear. So my challenge to you today is to seek the gardener. Take a step back, shut off the TV, mute the cell phone, lock yourself in the bathroom if you must. The gardener speaks most clearly when we sit quietly. Allow him to show you what he planted so many years ago. Let him show you the you he designed. Those seeds may seem to be buried so deep they'll never see the light of day, but believe me, he knows how to bring them to life. Let him do what he does best. You will not regret it. So, he reminded me of this as I was in the discovery process. And I wrote that in November. I found out I wrote that in November. And then I went through this like crazy thing in like January. So he's like, hey, I was talking to you, the future you, when you wrote this. And sometimes I think that's what happens, is that he's working on us certain times for our future selves to realize what he was doing. And so I said, all right, you know what, I just need to be with him more. I mean, really, I think that's the key. Sorry. We just need to be with him. He knows all of it. He put those seeds there specifically and strategically. And everybody's got different kinds of seeds, and we're all in different places, and you can't be looking at everybody else and their seeds and say, well, I'll just do what they're doing, or I'll just live like they're living, because he didn't design us to be the same. And his heart is in those seeds. Every single seed he put in you, his heart is in you and every single one of those things. And we grow the best when we're in his hands. And so I kind of just got myself to a place where I was in his hands more than I had been. And so I'm like, okay, God, now that I'm here, what are the next steps for me? What am I supposed to do now? And step one was like carving out that time. I feel like that's the biggest thing. Life is busy, and we're busy and busy and busy. And I mean, if you got to put it on your calendar, like I got a God appointment, then let's, make the time. I think that's one of the hardest things. And then step two was stopping my own mouth and listening. If you got to get off at Peace and Quiet exit on the expressway, if you got to get in your car to find time to be quiet with him, like I just kind of had to say, you know what, I have to somehow shut off the world. Wherever you have to go, way out in the middle of the lake, I don't know. But step three then was once I'm quiet, I need to listen. There's a difference between just sitting quiet and actually hearing him. And so to do that, I started writing and journaling, whatever your method is, and letting him take over the pen instead of me writing down my 100 prayer requests every day. And like we said, Bob said he's the author. He wrote it. So let's let him like give us some more details. And so I had to kind of go back to like my roots. So I was saying I was frustrated with like school and teaching and everything. And then I had like 20 different ideas on what I wanted to do. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to like leave my job and I'm going to sell my house and I'm going to move to Haiti. And then I was going to go on a bike ride across the United States of America, and I was going to write books, and I was going to be a comedian. And I'm like, God, it can't be everything. I'm just trying a whole bunch of stuff to see what happens and what sticks. And so he's like, chill out. Step one, chill out. And then think about your life. I've given you hints along the way. And so one of my friends had said, why don't you look around for prophetic pictures in your house? I'm like, what does that mean? And he was saying that he was looking for pictures that kind of showed him maybe what God was calling him to do. And he had found some in like a yearbook or something. And I'm like, I am not going through my yearbooks. That's just depressing. I don't want to see my nerdy high school self. No, thank you. So I'm like, I probably don't have any. That probably worked for him. It's not going to work for me. So I was cleaning my house or just wandering around, whatever. And I looked over and I saw a picture that my parents had given me for my graduation as a teacher. And it was pretty interesting. I'll show it to you. Interesting, embarrassing, kind of the same. But I had kind of come to the revelation that no matter what kind of chaos and things were going on at my school, I was really trying to run away. And so whatever situation you're in, you know, ask God. And like if there's options to go out and do other things, is it me running away or is it really something you want me to do? Because I think I was in the running away phase. And so he kind of reminded me that I am a teacher and that maybe, you know, whatever I'm going through is just a season and I need to not just run away. So here's the beautiful little picture that I found. So that's me when I was like 7 or 8 years old in that beautiful 1980s outfit. And what I was writing on the board is, I am the teacher. Sorry. And so he kind of like reminded me of that, and I'm like, okay, God, I get it. So I kind of was able to calm down and say, well, you know what, God, this situation's a little crazy, but you have called me to be here. You've called me to be in this place, and you've gifted me to do things here, and I don't need to run away to do the things you've called me to do. And so that was kind of like the first big revelation. And I went back to the exchange group and kind of talked about, you know, the vision and how God has kind of brought me back to that place of it's okay that you are where you are and you don't need to like escape. You just need to like flourish in this place I've put you in. You have gifts and talents that can be used here just as easily as in Haiti and on some bike trip across the United States too. So that was kind of what he had showed me, and it gave me more peace about where I was. It helped me to see my situation different, and I think sometimes that's the biggest thing is your perspective. So I started to see going to, you know, this environment differently. Like, what can I do with what he's given me here? How can I be passionate about what I'm doing here instead of just trying to go and do it elsewhere? And so since then, since January, I've tried to do some new things at school, and I'm really excited. We're starting like a computer coding club for girls, and that's going to start this month. And then I'm getting teachers together on how to like do innovative things in the classroom again, because I feel like I can't hear any more about park testing or I'll pull all my hair out like I showed you at the beginning. And so I feel like I'm trying to kind of do that to flourish in my environment. So maybe that's you. Maybe you're kind of in a place where you want to like get out of it, but maybe God kind of wants you to blossom in it. So then recently, he kind of also reminded me of like a vision he gave me a long time ago when I was in college. And I had sketched this beautiful picture. Obviously, this is showing you that my purpose is not art, but sketching with a pen. Super talented. But what this is he showed me a long time ago this vision of kind of this home for kids that would be it's basically like an orphanage, but it would be a school and a home, and it would be self-sustaining, and there's our little garden on the back side, and, you know, I don't know, a bike and a jump rope and stuff like that. And I had kind of forgotten about that vision. And I think sometimes God has given us things a long time ago that maybe we forgot about, and that like what happens is life happens, and then like somebody had said, it's survival mode. You're like, okay, well, I have kids to feed, and I have places to go, and I have meetings to go to, and the vision kind of gets buried. And so for me, that kind of happened. I started my teaching job, I got married, and and I didn't share this like at the other exchange group, so this is new for everyone. So then my life started to kind of fall apart. Sorry, my marriage fell apart, and I was trying to fix it with everything I knew how to fix it, and I was trying to put the bricks back as fast as I could, so my secure wall was secure still. And that didn't work. Like, I was doing it as quickly, and I did everything I thought I knew to do. And that didn't really work. And in the end, God, he showed me basically, like, your wall is crumbled, and this was basically me. You think your life's happy and perfect and things are great, and then they kind of aren't great. So after that, God during that whole falling apart phase is when I actually went to Haiti for the first time. And I went actually because I was like, God, get me out of this drama. I need to go somewhere far away. I can't deal with this. And what I really needed was a new perspective. So it was awesome because I was like in a country where there was total devastation right after the earthquake in 2010. And God gave me a new perspective, and he's like, you know what? Your house is like drama crazy, but it's not as bad as like being in Haiti. So, being there, God kind of gave me a new purpose, and he stirred up my passion, and he reminded me of the vision. And so, he kind of said, all right, your walls are crumbling. You're having all these things kind of fall apart, but I'm showing you that there's other stuff I have for you on the other side of your crumbling life. And you gotta let it go. And you gotta let it fall apart, because if you don't, that wall's gonna be there, and you're never gonna get to the next stuff I have for you, the next step, the next level, the next expanse that I have for you. And so I finally was able to see that I was kind of just consumed with me in my own life. And in the falling apart of my whole world, he opened up totally new vision and reminded me of all the things that were in me to do to start with. And so I was kind of just sharing that part of it, because I feel like sometimes we think, well, what's my purpose and what's my passion and what am I good at? And I think we can figure that out when we sit with God. But sometimes, like, your worst of your worst is part of your purpose too. And like, it reveals things in you that you had no idea were there. It draws you to him closer than you've ever been. And so I just want to encourage anybody who's in the middle of like the wall falling down that it's like gonna be fine, and that you'll make it through, and that he has so much for you on the other side. And so after all of that, and recently I've still been in this like molding phase, and after I was kind of falling apart, God was kind of molding me back together. And the pieces started to make sense after a little while. So I know sometimes like everything's confusion, but as you kind of step through it with him, he puts it together for you even when it doesn't make sense to you. So in the end, with all the revelation about my teaching stuff and my Haiti stuff and my life drama, he just reminded me that I have passion for kids like all over the world, whatever outfit they got on. And And then even like even though, I love working with the kids here, God has given me a heart for like the little babies in Haiti too, even though they're snotty and all that stuff. And one thing that they had prayed or said when at the exchange group, when I was just like in this confusion place, was like, bloom and blossom where you're planted. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, is trying to bloom and blossom where I'm planted, but also reminding myself of the visions that God is continuing to reveal and unearth in me as I move forward too. Because there may be more than one thing, he's calling you maybe more than one thing or different places, and it's not all just one prepackaged little box. So it's baby steps all along the way. And it might lead to lots more questions. And it might be rocky steps, and you might be on an incline, but the puzzle pieces will eventually make sense and fit together. I feel like I'm kind of discovering that. And in the end, you're moving up, and you're moving closer to Him, and it's all good, even though it's confusing in the middle. So the next step then is just do it again. Do it again. Go back and sit with Him again. Over and over and over. And it's like the best place to be anyway. We all kind of know that. So, in that place, He continues to prune you. It's painful sometimes, and there's lots of tissues that you might need. But I like this verse. It said, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. And to me, that's painful all around. You're like, so you're cutting me all the time. But, in the end, it's good. And that's just like what we said, like you got to surrender to it. Otherwise, like, I don't know, I guess in me it was just like, God, I could live Monday to Friday hoping for the weekend every week. And I could say, well, I'm just going to suck it up till the time's over and maybe go do some fun stuff here and there. But it's like, is that what my life is going to be? Like hoping for like some fun times here and there? Like I can't live life like that. So that's why, it's like it's painful, but it's better than, like we said, what it would be otherwise. So I like this quote, we're on the hunt for who we've not yet become. And so I think that's why we need to seek Him, because He'll reveal more of that. And purpose is a place where your deep gladness meets the world's needs. And like we said, we're all part of the body, and we need to do what we're called to do so that the kingdom can function the way God wants it to function. And so bloom and blossom in your own colorful way, whatever that may be. And I had another little blog that I could read. Maybe I'll read it. Should I read it? Okay. And then I have one little snippet of a song at the end. Okay, so this one I wrote, I think, a while ago also, but on March 14th, not that long ago. But this was a day where I was completely overwhelmed. So this kind of goes with the other one. Have you ever sat alone with God and asked Him what His view of your future looks like? Have you taken the time to sit quietly with Him and ask Him what His plans are for you? I know we often quote Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. However, do we take the time to ask Him what those plans are? If you haven't done so, I want to challenge you today to sit with the master planner and allow Him to reveal to you the mind-blowing plans He has. Oh, they are marvelous. They are so much more than we could ever plan for ourselves. And if we would just take the time and create a space for Him to show us, what we would see in our spirits could change the entire trajectory of our lives. Now, I will warn you, it's a bit scary to see the things He has planned. The only reason I can say that to you is because I recently sat at His feet and asked Him to show me more of what He has for me. It's scary, but it's also more beautiful than you can fathom. That's how you know it's from him. The visions he gave me of the plans he has in store completely overwhelm me. I think that's the first clue that they are God designed. I think the simple fact that there is no way I would dream up that kind of a future is the proof that I obviously didn't dream it up on my own. If what you see doesn't freak you out or scare you completely or make you say, no way, God, no way, then it's not his full plan for you. If the vision and dream he has placed in your heart doesn't cause questions to flood your mind, like bees swarming a hive, then perhaps you haven't seen the whole vision. Perhaps you haven't allowed him to show you what he really wants to show you. I'm not saying I've seen all God has for me, and I'm not claiming that I know every detail about his plans. However, I do know that what he has revealed has caused me to sit in wonder and say, God, I am completely overwhelmed right now. How in the world is all of that going to happen? I have no clue how to make the stuff come to be. No clue. So just in case you chose me to live out this dream and this vision because you think I'm qualified or capable, I just want to remind you that I'm not. After my rant, God, ooh, that's interesting. God spoke back. Maybe that was him speaking back. That's his language. After my rant, God spoke back and said, my love, why would I give you an assignment you could accomplish all on your own? Why would I give you a vision and a dream and a purpose that you could carry out without needing me in the slightest? The purpose of your purpose is to draw you closer to me. What better way to do that than to show you a vision you'll never see in reality unless I'm leading the way? I've set it up this way on purpose. I am proud of you for seeking me and even entertaining the idea of this vision and dream I've placed in your heart. That is step one. You can check that one off the list. However, the rest of the steps are going to require you to hold my hand tighter than you've ever held it. They're going to require you to spend more time in prayer, more time seeking my face, more time fasting and sowing and believing, more time in my word. Do you see what's happening here? The plans I have for you are amazing. Yes, they are truly amazing, and your life is going to be one wild ride and one amazing adventure. However, that's not why I've given you this calling. The overwhelming nature of my plans is intentional. The purpose is to draw you to me more closely than ever before because I love you that much. So don't let the vision consume you. Allow it to do what it was meant to do. Cause you to come running to me, the author of the vision. And as a result, our relationship will grow stronger, and so will you. So allow yourself to be overwhelmed, my love. Then, come sit on my lap and allow me to wash you in my peace and provide you with the baby steps you'll need to take so that the beautiful vision I've shown you can become reality. As long as you're drawn to me and not pulled from me, the vision is serving its purpose. I love you, my love. Love, Dad. So, that was another one I wrote recently. Sorry. And I feel like when we really do sit with him, that's what happens. But like I said, it's where he wants us to be anyway. And so whatever he's shown you, if it's like so huge, just know that that's him. And that's him bringing you back to him and saying, you can't do it by yourself. And that's the point. So it's going to take some bravery. And I just had one little snippet of a song to play, if that's okay. And then I'm done. So this song kind of like, hopefully it's loud enough. Oh, or is this? Oh, okay, now it's too loud. Is that too loud? This was my favorite part.